Ugh. Where the hell am I? Oh no, not here. This can't be right. Well, hello there, my name is Stell, but you can call me Sandy. For every handful of genuinely awesome games, there's almost an equal handful of games that probably should have been left on the drawing board.
Oh, I enjoy it. I'm watching this.
And funnily enough, I find some sort of weird joy out of playing both kinds of games and picking them apart in my own unique way. I mean, hell, on my list of things to talk about, I have Hunt Down the Freeman, a notoriously bad fan-made expansion of Half-Life that... Wait, what do you mean I already made a video on that? When the fuck did I make this? I don't remember making... Fuckface. Today we're in the very abyss of creation, where there's truly no redemption for a poorly made experience, and today's topic is on a game called... Introvert. A teenager simulator. Now, I don't blame you if you aren't familiar with this title, because it's not exactly well known. However, the people who actually made and published this game will certainly ring some bells for those in the mascot horror community, the Euphoric Brothers. And this game that we're talking about is a different kind of horrible compared to what the Euphoric Brothers are known for nowadays, as it's a game that attempts, and that word is doing some very heavy lifting here, to cover the topics of mental health and the most uniquely American problem of school shootings. So with great revulsion and disappointment, I present Introvert, the BanBan school shooting game. Well, as usual, we have a tiny bit of history with this game, but obviously less to do with the game itself and more to do with the developers. You see, for those unfamiliar with the Euphoric Brothers, this pair of developers is mostly known for the currently infamous slop horror series, Garten of BanBan, where the most terrifying aspect of the game is both how many assets are flipped in the game, as well as how unoptimized the original models for the games are at all. But funnily enough, before they were known for making low-effort rip-offs of Flavor of the Month games, they did have a few, I guess, original games, all mostly playable for free, including the topic of today's video. However, as you will see with the game, I can't imagine their other original titles are much better. But it's kind of strange that these games are free and buried so far down their catalog, all topped by their slop copies of One Night at Diddy's, Lethal Company, and of course, fucking Poppy Playtime. But hey, I guess their attempts at originality don't really matter as long as you can pump out another installment of the game with 12 octillion polygons every month. Speaking of which, I'm still waiting on number 5. I guess they're as good at counting as they are at making games even worth playing. But while I could get into the history of the Euphoric Brothers trying to artificially inflate the playtime of their later games because people were doing, and I shit you not, refund percent speedruns, or the fact that the game that we're talking about today was planned to have a sequel, I feel like I've already talked enough about the history. Let's just get into the game. Rarely do I find myself ever talking about the title screen of a game, largely because even some of my favorite games have pretty basic title screens that aren't exactly worth dissecting. But for once I have a reason to talk about a title screen. The title screen for this game is both the best and worst thing I've seen. The imagery of our protagonist endlessly falling while there's this weird VHS glitch filter over it is a pretty neat visual and could lead someone to think that this game might take the topic and subject matter of this game seriously, even if the music used for this imagery is this weird lo-fi beats to relax and lose your mind to. However, this amazing imagery is completely undercut by the second half of the title screen being a promotion of the developer's Discord server and fucking Egghead Gumpty. So any kind of praise I just gave this title screen is just immediately revoked. Get used to that for most of the rest of this video. Anyway, we start off in our room. Once again, I have a small compliment to give to the game. The style, at least for the characters, is pretty interesting. It almost reminds me of Rain World with their pixel style, yet natural procedural movement. I know that this game definitely doesn't work in the same way, because that would require far more effort than either of these devs have put into any of their games, but I will, again, give credit where credit is due. But after we walk through the bathroom, we reach the living room where we have a dead guy on the floor. No, this is never explained at any point in the game whatsoever. Upon walking outside, we take a look at the neighborhood that will give any architect and artist a fucking heart attack. Not only is every house just the same but different colors and sizes, therefore breaking rule number 1 of pixel art, but they're incorrectly placed when built on a slope. Anyway, we learned that out here we can ride on a skateboard, but I want to bring your attention to this weird as fuck Easter egg if you go over to the left. Here we end up on an endless stretch of pavement, and the developer starts talking to us via default Microsoft Word font. It more or less just amounts to the developer assuming that the person playing this is actually under mental distress and not playing this to mock it, and tells the player to DM him on Twitter if they need someone to talk to. I feel like this shouldn't need to be said, but you shouldn't trust a game dev that poorly handles the topic of school shootings to be your therapist. Anyway, we actually head to the school where we were introduced to the running mechanic. Now, I want you to take a guess as to how the run works in this game. Is it a toggle run or a press and hold? Well, it's fucking neither one, and you instead need to mash either A or D just to run continuously. Seriously, who the fuck designs a running thing like this? Anyway, we are introduced to the teacher, and he tells us to sit down at the only available chair, which is right across from the focus of this game, our mentally disturbed school shooter, who tells us right up front that if he doesn't make any friends in 5 days, he'll light up the school right before conscripting us to be his first friend.
If I don't make any friends in the first 5 days, I will shoot up the school. Can you be my friend?
Oh yeah, and it's also here that we find out our player character is just canonically mute. Anyway, we're given a math question to solve before we're able to get up and get randomly flirted with by one of our fellow students.
So, you're the new mute guy. I'm Amanda. I like mute guys. There's just something sexy about your silence.
And then finally leave this goofy-ass school. And that's it for day 1. Are you riveted by this game yet? Anyway, day 2, we head to school and meet a new character, Emma, who's too shy to walk into class on her own and decides we are her escort to class. Anyway, when we walk into class, we are greeted by this scene, which... You know what? Just play it.
Today, we have a special person. We have a guest speaker. We have Mr. Frackenshit.
My passages. My passages.
I hope you know I had to severely reduce the audio in editing because this shit was loud enough to turn my headphones into speakers. Yeah, you see why I took off my headphones? Anyway, our new friend here tells us that he wants to hang out with us after school, so that's our current plan. He also mentioned something about the Emma girl, but let's be honest, we'll save that weird as fuck surprise for later. Anyway, after the math question, after getting yet another warning about Emma from a woman that looks too old to be in a classroom, we head out to hang out with our trigger-happy friend. Our first mission is to stop by the pizza place to get pizza, where the only remotely funny joke happens in this game.
Can I have pizza with Greek cheese, smoked salmon, black caviar, red onions, tomato sauce, spicy mayo, chili flakes, banana slices, maybe some garlic, kebab pieces, tuna, sausage, and scrambled eggs on top, please? Oh, yeah, make it extra toasted too, if possible.
No.
Listen, again, I'll give credit where credit is due. They did nail the comedic timing on that one. If only they stuck with something similar instead of blasting my eardrums to Valhalla earlier. Anyway, we head to the lake where we are soon confronted by the stereotypical bully characters who soon start beating the shit out of our hangout buddy. Here we have the option to either join in or just stay the hell away, which I decided to stay far away from whatever the hell was going on there. And that's it for day 2. Onward to day 3. Day starts similarly to the previous. We escort Emma to class and then get told to visit the principal's office where we have one of the better voice actors scold us, the bullies, and for some reason the kid who got beat up.
2 new kids. 200 new problems. What the hell? Chris here told me you guys beat the shit out of him yesterday, including the mute. You 2 new kids should have became friends instead of all this mess. Everyone here in this room are losing shit ton of marks because of this unacceptable behavior, including Chris for being such a loser. But all of you guys are losers too! Dismissed.
You know what, this is probably the most realistic depiction of how schools handle bullying in America, so go ahead and give this game another point, which brings them to negative 997. You guys might reach negative 990 if you keep this up. Anyway, the lead bully actually tells you about a revenge plan since our friend decided to throw us under the bus because we didn't join in on the beatdown. And after class, we basically do that, heading over to our friend's house, which definitely didn't take a few minutes because the game doesn't fucking bother to tell us which house is his, and greets us shortly before the bully walks in and knocks his lights out, which now has us permanently set onto the bad route for some reason. Anyway, on to day 4. Emma tells us to visit her after class almost immediately, which not only has given her the most character development in this entire game, but is literally the only reason I remember her name at this point. Give the game a point for having at least one developed character. Anyway, after blasting your ears out with another loud-ass noise...
After school, you'll have to make...
we do today's quiz and head out to hang out with Emma at the lake. Here we find out that she could just turn into a giant flying wolf. You know what? This is the most normal part of this game, and at this point is the biggest highlight of the game, because we don't have to play it for at least a minute and a half as we fly on the back of Emma. Anyway, on to the final day, where the moment that we sit down, our friend walks in and pulls out a gun, the teacher does a fucking crab walk out of class, ruining any tension this scene may have had, and while he shoots up the school, we hear that one music track that every mid-tier video essayist uses whenever they make an exposed video. And that's it! Following is just a scroll down of the local paper where not even they take the violent school shooting seriously, and after that, we're given the credits. Do you now see why I wanted to cover this game? Not yet. Okay, well, there are multiple endings in this game, if you can even call it that, but the only real difference between any of them is whether or not we actually survive the school shooting. And there are just a few extra things I wanted to throw in there for those curious. First things first, for the speedrunners out there, I accidentally found a skip during the friend hangout scene on day 2, or if you enter and then immediately exit the pizza place, it'll skip the pizza order scene entirely. Second, your reward for getting every test question correct across the week is this extra scene where you get to go into the teacher's colossal house and cap a weird clone of him or something.
Release me from this hell I am trapped in. I am nothing but an unexplained abomination roaming in the vast universe with no good intentions or purpose. I won't forget this favor even when we meet again in hell while we are burning to ashes in a never-ending loop. Use the gun I gave you and finish me. You are not leaving till you do.
Again, I assumed that this was some attempt at humor, but it just straight up doesn't really work. And finally, there is a bonus scene that you can get on the 4th day where if you visit your friend again, you find out that one of the bullies is actually his brother. And you can also explore his weird-ass house where it temporarily breaks the arrow keys for some fucking reason. Oh, now the arrow keys work. I swear to fuck, they were not working before. And that's really everything even remotely noteworthy for the rest of the game, and thus ends our time with Introvert. So, what can we learn from our time with this game? The obvious is to not fumble the discussion of serious topics like school shootings and mental health. The idea of there being no way of actually helping our trigger-happy friend is obviously one negative thing, but this game throws in flaccid attempts at humor in the worst parts of the game, which utterly ruins any tension or suspense this game might have had otherwise. Of course, with any negative experience, there are some glimmers of something good within the game, but it's unfortunately overshadowed by basically damn near everything else in this game. But hey, at least the game was free? I don't know, I'm clearly running out of praise for this game. And with that, this has been Stell. And as always, thank you for watching. This place, I can't even see the exit. Just a pit? A prison? Where am I? Who are you? important. Well, where am I? The abyss of all creation. Well, how do I get out? I don't want to be here again. I can't stay in darkness again. Fool yourself. Let's remove. How can I? I'm trapped down here. Yeah, I think I can. Keep fighting. Wait. Well, I guess if I can still see a way out.